Hello, Libra, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of December 21st through the 27th. And of course, with it being a holiday week, there's a lot going on this week. So we have the winter solstice that happens on the 21st. So if you have some clear skies, make sure you're getting out into the sky where you can watch the story that unfolds in the sky, which I think is beautiful this time of year. Also, of course, we have the waxing crescent moon, and that keeps things a little bit dark for that stargazing. I know we do a big bonfire on the solstice, and it's one of my favorite nights of the year. We do our manifestations for the year, and just spend time together, before the Christmas holiday. And it's become one of my favorite times of the year, one of my favorite days of the year. We then, of course, have Christmas that comes in on the 25th. So Merry Christmas to you and yours in whatever way that you enjoy it, whether it's crazy and with a lot of family or very quiet with just a couple of you. Just really take the time to enjoy the people around you and just the quiet of the day. I love that day because it feels like there's hardly any traffic. It's just quiet, just the most quiet day of the year. Maybe you'll get a little snow on your Christmas. So we then move into the first quarter moon on the 27th. And that's a time when you might feel a little bit impatient or impulsive. Your mind might be a little bit active. So just keep that in mind. It might just be a little disruptor in your week, but you may just want to use that energy in a positive way also. So, all right, this will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter, Libra. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading, Libra, is confidence is your key to success. And we're just going to do a very kind of quick reading today. I'm not going to elaborate too much, only because you're busy, I'm busy, we're all a little bit busy. So we're just going to get through a quick little reading, and we'll get back to our longer readings after the first of the year, right? Just that time of year where you feel like, there's a lot to do. All right. Libra, December 21st through the 27th. Confidence is your key to success. Your present energy is the Three of Wands. So definitely some travel ahead of you, maybe a new venture, something where you're kind of thinking about, making those sorts of plans, whether it be for, again, travel plans, new ventures, something that's going on. And I'm seeing a theme with these readings that I've been doing, and it's that we are kind of coming to the close of a year, and that makes us start thinking about our plans for next year. What are things that we want to change, or things that we want to do or accomplish? And that I'm definitely getting that kind of energy from this card as well. Your current situation, Libra, is the Queen of Wands. So you're definitely in an energy where you understand the things that drive you, and the things that get you up in the morning, the passion, the fire, the things that excite you. You've got a really, really good understanding of that right now at this time in your life, and that makes moving forward very easy because you know what you want. That's sometimes half the battle. At the root of your situation, Libra, is the Knight of Swords. So things coming in very quickly when it comes to communication, or even ideas, things that might be coming to you with this air energy, but things are happening a little quickly this week. Again, it being a holiday week, it's not a normal week. It's kind of that disruption midweek with the holiday, and it just makes everything feel a little off, right? If you feel like Monday doesn't feel like Monday this week. So, but something coming in with maybe an idea or a message, some information that maybe you've been wanting to hear about. In your recent past is the Death card, which means that we're moving into this energy of change with something that we're letting go of in the past. With the Death card, it's just an ending, a very natural and normal ending, and it could be just something is ending for you. It could be just a phase of your life is ending and you're moving into this next phase. Let's say that you've raised your children, and all of a sudden now you're moving into this next phase, and it's trying to figure out, what do I do now with all this extra time and money on my hands? It could be that you're moving out of the phase of not having children and into the phase of being a parent. So there's all these different phases of life, and usually that Death card, it's not really the death of a thing or a person. It's about kind of the death of an era, and it's moving on into the next phase. So it looks like you've recently gone through that, and now we're just going to move ahead and see where you want to go. And that's why you're looking towards this future here. On your mind this week is, of course, the 10 of Cups, which is one of our happiest cards in the deck. And this is just about happy family, happy life, just wealth, abundance, and just everyone in a good place emotionally, most importantly. And confidence is your key to success. So keep that confidence going, and you can maintain that kind of energy through the holiday and just really enjoy time that you're spending with, again, with friends and family. Just ahead of you this week is back to work. So, you know, here we are. Holiday comes and goes, and all of a sudden, there you are back at work. And it does go very quickly. So I always say, make sure that you're treasuring those moments, those small moments, because don't worry, work awaits you right after the holiday. It'll just be kind of back to the grind, and that's kind of what it is. This can also be just really being in the moment on something that you do actually enjoy working on. If it's not your actual work that you enjoy, which hopefully you do enjoy your work, and if you don't, maybe that is something to start to think about, is how to get to a place where your work is something that you do enjoy. But this is also just about really being so in the moment working on something that you're just hard to distract, and it's that kind of being one with the universe, getting into that groove. And that's a good feeling too. So that's something that's going to be awaiting you here during this week also. In your advice position is the Page of Pentacles. So some sort of new path coming for you in the way of the material. So, of course, with the holiday week, you're getting gifts and that sort of thing. And now, if you're like me, it's like, oh, well, here come new things, and I have to make space for that. And that means getting rid of some other old things. So, there's always that adjustment that you do with new things that come into your life, that you're now you have to make space for them, and get rid of old things. So think about that. And that's just really what you're going to have to do this week. What's beyond your control this week is a little bit of a feeling, this is kind of a celebration of you. This is people kind of patting you on the back a little bit. It's not like a big, huge party or anything, but it's like people telling you, hey, you're doing a good job. And I think that is going to be undeniable. And you'll hear that from some people this week, and feel that kind of just recognition, which is always nice. What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid, is the devil. And that's good. That's a place where I like this card. Our devil is about false truths and lack of confidence. So if confidence is your key to success, I really hope that you are trying to avoid that devil this week. This could be also avoiding something when it comes to the devil card can be about dependence. This could be that if you've decided to maybe not drink during the holidays, that may be kind of just there tempting you, right? Or if you've decided to just not be around that at all with you or other people, that's always that temptation, is that somebody's maybe partying a little too hard. And hopefully you are trying to avoid that, because nobody needs that through a holiday, right? In my opinion. I don't know. I'm sure there's other opinions out there, but in your outcome position, Libra, is the King of Wands. So we've moved from this Queen of Wands here, which is having the understanding, into a real good knowledge of something that you're super, super passionate about, and taking that time, maybe a little extra time this week, to learn that. And it could be about family. It could be about, what it is to spend time with family. Again, let's avoid this devil card. Hopefully, I doubt if that's your secret desire. So I hope you are trying to avoid that in whatever way that presents itself for you. Whatever false truth that comes in your life, you'll know it'll be different for different Libras, but you'll know exactly what I'm talking about there, and you want to try to avoid that this week. What is hidden from you this week, Libra, is the Seven of Cups, which represents many choices. So I feel like you probably have a pretty narrow path this week of just, you're not going to have a lot of choices. It's not a week for that. Maybe next week it will be, but this week it's kind of like your week is kind of laid out for you. And again, maybe you're just, you know that you go this place on Christmas Eve, and you go this place on Christmas Day, and you do all of those sorts of things. It's kind of planned out for you. Don't worry, next week you can definitely open up those choices again and have more choice in your life. So let's get a final word here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Libra as we run through this very, very quick reading, touch in with you this week. Final message for Libra: strengthen your gifts. So what are those gifts? And take time to strengthen them. That's how we get to this King of Wands and the Queen. I mean, this is about something that you're very passionate about. And, it could be that you just get a little recognition for that and it makes you feel better and you work a little harder at it this week, or you take some time to just educate yourself a little bit, in all the crazy hustle bustle, that some of that time gets to be yours too. So make sure you're taking some time for yourself to strengthen those gifts on something that you feel very passionate about. All right, self care for Libra. And the card that comes up for you is the card that says, Speak Up. If you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war inside yourself. So, is there something this week that you need to speak up about? And if so, go ahead and do it. It seems like you might just need to speak your mind sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't have to be harsh. You can do things in a gentle way, but looks like there might be something that you do need to speak up. And maybe that's one of your gifts that you do need to strengthen. That sometimes you just have to say the thing. Maybe it concerns this devil card for some of you. That would kind of make sense to me. But again, overall on your mind is just happy family. And that's really all you want. And that's all anyone can really ask for, Libra. So I wish the best for you this week. Once again, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you next week. Bye bye.